The morning sun peeked through the curtains as Io stretched lazily in bed. It was a new day, and he had a lot ahead of him. He got up, took a quick shower, and dressed neatly in his doctor's coat. As he picked up his briefcase, his phone rang. It was his mother, Bola. "Good morning, Mama," Io greeted cheerfully. "Io, my son." Bola's voice sounded serious. "I had a bad dream last night." "A bad dream?" Io paused, concerned. "What happened, Mama?" "In the dream, I saw something troubling. Please, Io, promise me you won't take what doesn't belong to you," Bola said firmly. Io chuckled softly, trying to lighten the mood. "Mama, you know me. I don't take what's not mine." "I know, my son," Bola replied, "but I felt I needed to warn you. Dreams are not just dreams sometimes." "I understand, Mama. I promise," Io said gently. "Don't worry about me." "All right," Bola said, her tone relaxing. "Purity returned from boarding school yesterday, and we're coming to Abuja to see you today." Io smiled at the thought of seeing his mother and sister. "That's great. I can't wait to see you both. Safe travels, Mama." "Thank you, my son. See you soon," Bola said before hanging up. Io put the phone down and grabbed his car keys. Another day, another chance to save lives, he thought as he headed to the hospital. When Io arrived at the hospital, he noticed a strange tension in the air. Nurses were whispering to one another, and even the patients seemed unusually quiet. "What's going on?" Io wondered. Just then, Dr. Tunde approached him. "Io, can I speak with you for a moment?" "Sure, Dr. Tunde." "What is it?" Io asked, curious. Tunde glanced around before speaking in a low voice. "We have an emergency. A 35-year-old man was brought in this morning, but something strange is happening to him." "Strange? How do you mean?" Io asked, raising an eyebrow. Tunde sighed. "When he came in, he looked about 40 years old, but within minutes he started aging rapidly. Now he looks like he's 80. Io frowned, unsure whether Tunde was joking. "You're not serious." "I'm very serious," Tunde said firmly. "You need to see it for yourself." Io didn't waste another second. He followed Tunde into the ward where a group of nurses stood around a bed, their faces filled with shock and confusion. On the bed lay a man who looked frail and wrinkled, his body trembling. He was crying and begging for help. "Please, help me," the man said, his voice shaky. Io stepped closer, his heart heavy at the sight. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Peter," the man replied, tears streaming down his face. "Peter, what happened to you?" Io asked, trying to piece together the mystery. "I don't know," Peter said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I woke up this morning, and my body started changing. I'm only 35 years old, but look at me now." Io glanced at Tunde, who was studying the man closely. "How old are you, really?" Tunde asked. "I'm 35, Peter insisted, "but I look like I'm 90. Io was speechless. He had never seen anything like this before. As he examined Peter, his eyes caught something shiny on the man's wrist, a golden wristwatch that looked incredibly expensive. Tunde noticed it too and nudged Io. "That wristwatch. It must cost millions," he whispered. Io nodded slowly, still focused on Peter. When they stepped outside the room, Tunde's tone changed. "Io, listen to me. That man is not going to make it. We both know this is not a normal case. It's spiritual." "What are you trying to say?" Io asked, confused. Tunde leaned closer. "I'm saying we should take the wristwatch. It's worth a fortune, and the man will die anyway." Io's eyes widened in disbelief. "Dr. Tunde, are you serious right now? That's stealing." Tunde's face darkened. "Call it what you want, but I call it taking an opportunity. If you don't want to do it, I will. But if you say a word about this to anyone, you won't like what happens next." Io was shocked. "Dr. Tunde, this is wrong. I can't let you do this." "Stay out of my way, Io," Tunde said coldly before walking away. Io stood there, his mind racing. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. Determined to focus on saving Peter, Ao returned to the room and began asking more questions. "Peter, do you remember anything unusual that happened before this started?" Ao asked. Peter shook his head weakly. "Nothing, except..." "Except what?" Ao pressed gently. I found this wristwatch on the road yesterday. It was just lying there, shining like gold. I picked it up and wore it. That's all," Peter said. Ao's heart sank. "Do you think this wristwatch could be the cause of your condition?" "I don't know," Peter said, his voice filled with fear. "But I don't want to die, doctor. Please help me." Ao placed a reassuring hand on Peter's shoulder. "I'll do everything I can, Peter. Just hang in there." Back in his office, Ao began researching cases similar to Peter's. He contacted several renowned doctors, explaining the situation and seeking advice. "Have you ever heard of a case where someone aged rapidly like this?" Ao asked during one of the calls. "No," one of the doctors replied. "It sounds like something out of a movie. Are you sure it's not a hoax?" "It's real," Ao said firmly. "I've seen it with my own eyes." But no one could offer a solution. That evening, Ao called Zara and explained everything to her. "This is unbelievable," Zara said. "It sounds like something supernatural." "I don't know what to think anymore," Ao admitted. "But I need to find a way to help him." "I'll do some research on my end," Zara said. "Maybe I can find something." "Thank you, Zara," Ao said, grateful for her support. At the hospital, Ao administered some injections to help Peter calm down and sleep. But as Ao drove home that night, his mind was heavy with unanswered questions. At home, he opened his laptop and continued his research, but every lead seemed to end in a dead end. Frustrated, he leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. "God, please help me find a solution," he whispered. No matter how tired he felt, Ao refused to give up. He was determined to save Peter, no matter how impossible the situation seemed. The clock struck 9 p.m., and Ao was still seated at his desk, staring at his laptop screen. The glow from the monitor lit up his tired face, and his eyes were red from hours of reading and researching. He had gone through countless articles, journals, and forums, but none offered a solution for Peter's strange condition. Frustration weighed heavily on his chest. "God, what is happening?" he whispered. "This is beyond me." Just then, there was a knock at the door. The sound startled him, pulling him out of his thoughts. He stood up, stretched his stiff back, and walked to the door. As he opened it, a wide smile spread across his face. Standing there were Bola, his mother, and Purity, his younger sister. Bola carried a basket of food, and Purity was holding a small bag. "My son!" Bola exclaimed, wrapping him in a tight hug. "Mama!" Ao said, his voice filled with joy. He turned to Purity and hugged her too. "Purity, look at you, you've grown so much." "Brother Ao, you're exaggerating," Purity said, rolling her eyes but laughing. Come in, Ao said, stepping aside to let them in. They entered the cozy apartment, and Ao helped Bola place the basket on the dining table. Purity dropped her bag by the couch and plopped down with a sigh. "Ah, this city life is noisy," Bola said, looking around. "Your father and I don't know how you survive here," Ao chuckled. "Mama, you'll get used to it if you stay long enough." They sat down, exchanging pleasantries and catching up on small talk, but Bola, always observant, noticed something was off. "Ao, you don't look happy. What's going on?" she asked, her tone filled with concern. Ao sighed and rubbed his face. "Mama, it's a long story." "Tell me," Bola insisted. "What's troubling you?" Ao glanced at Purity, who was now sitting up and listening attentively. He decided to tell them everything. "There's a patient at the hospital, Mama. He came in yesterday morning, but something strange is happening to him. He's only 35 years old, but his body is aging rapidly. When he arrived, he looked 40, but within minutes, he looked 80. Now, he looks like a man in his 90s. We don't know what's causing it." Bola gasped, her hand flying to her chest. "Hey, Ayo, this is not ordinary, this is spiritual. That's what I said, Purity chimed in. It's supernatural, brother. Things like this don't just happen. Ayo shook his head. I don't want to believe that, Mama. I'm a doctor. I need to find a medical explanation for this. Ayo, Bola said firmly, leaning forward. Not everything in this life has a medical explanation. You need to be careful. I'm telling you, this is not normal. I hear you, Mama, Ayo said, trying to reassure her. But don't worry too much about it. We'll figure it out. Purity tilted her head. So, what are you going to do now? I've been doing research and asking for advice, but nothing seems to work. Zara is also helping from her end, Ayo explained. Bola shook her head. It's good you're trying, but Ayo, promise me you won't let this thing trouble you too much. And whatever you do, don't take what doesn't belong to you. Remember what I told you. I promise, Mama, Ayo said with a small smile. I won't do anything stupid. Bola sighed in relief. Good. Now, let's talk about something else. Did you cook? Or should we prepare something for you? Ayo laughed. Mama, you know I didn't cook. Purity, you'll have to save me and make something simple. Bola smiled and said, We came prepared. I brought soup from home. Purity, heat it up and serve us. We'll all eat together. Purity rolled her eyes playfully. Why is it always me doing the cooking? Because you're the baby of the house, Ayo teased. Now, go and heat the soup before I faint from hunger. They all laughed, and Purity went to the kitchen. Within minutes, the aroma of freshly heated soup filled the apartment. They gathered around the dining table, enjoying the meal together. As they ate, Ayo turned to Purity. So, how's your acting career coming along, our future superstar? Purity grinned. It's going well. I've already decided that I'll study theater arts at the university. That's amazing, Ayo said, clapping his hands. You'll be the greatest actor of our time. I can already see it. Thank you, brother Ayo, Purity said, blushing. But it's not easy. People keep saying acting is not a real career. Don't listen to them, Bola said firmly. Follow your dreams, my daughter. You'll make us proud. Yes, Purity, Ayo added. Keep working hard and don't give up. You have our full support. They laughed and talked about Purity's dreams, sharing words of encouragement. Bola then shifted the conversation to Toby, Ayo's younger brother. Toby will be coming home from school in a week, Bola said. I can't wait to see my engineer. Ayo smiled proudly. That's great. How's he doing? He's doing well, Bola said. Your father says Toby is very focused on his studies. He's always talking about new things he's learning. Ayo nodded. That's good to hear. And how's Papa? Purity chimed in. Papa is doing fine. He doesn't work as much anymore. He just supervises at the workshop since you put him on a salary. Ayo smiled. I'm glad he's taking it easy. He's worked hard enough. It's time for him to rest. They continued chatting about family, work, and life in general. The laughter and warmth in the room filled Ayo's heart with gratitude. No matter how tough things got, his family was always there to support him. Later that night, as they were getting ready to sleep, Bola called Ayo aside. Ayo, wait, she said. Let Purity go to bed first. I want to talk to you. Purity waved goodnight and disappeared into the guest room. Ayo turned to his mother, curious. What is it, Mama? He asked. Bola looked at him seriously. I know you're working hard, my son, but I want you to remember what I told you earlier. Don't let greed or desperation push you to take what doesn't belong to you. Mama, I understand, Ayo said gently. I won't do anything like that. You don't have to worry. Bola sighed and placed a hand on his shoulder. Good. I trust you, Ayo. You've always made us proud. Just stay careful, especially with this strange case you're dealing with. I will, Mama, Ayo promised. Bola smiled and hugged him tightly. Now go and rest. You need your strength. As Ayo lay in bed that night, he thought about his family and how much they meant to him. Their love gave him the strength to face whatever challenges came his way. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this case was far from over. Something bigger was at play, and he was determined to uncover the truth. The sun was just beginning to rise when Bola woke up. She stretched, tied her wrapper securely, and knocked gently on Ayo's door. "Ayo, wake up," she called softly. "It's time for morning devotion." "Yes, Mama," came Ayo's sleepy response. Bola moved to Purity's door. "Purity, wake up. Don't let the sun meet you in bed." "Mama, 5 more minutes," Purity mumbled. 5 minutes will turn to 1 hour, Bola said, laughing. "Come out now." Soon they all gathered in the living room for morning devotion. Bola led them in singing and clapping as they worshipped together. Then she prayed for Ayo, asking God to protect him at work and give him wisdom to handle any challenges. She also prayed for Purity's future as an actress and for their father back in Abeokuta. After devotion, Bola headed to the kitchen. "Ayo, what do you want for breakfast?" she asked. "Anything simple, Mama," Ayo replied, tying his shoelaces. Bola prepared fried yam and eggs and set the table. Ayo sat down, took a few bites, and stood up quickly. "Mama, I need to rush out. Duty calls," he said, grabbing his briefcase. "You barely ate," Bola said, frowning. "I'll eat well later." "Thank you, Mama," Ayo said, kissing her cheek. "All right, my son. God bless your day," Bola said. As Ayo left, Purity moved closer to the table. "Purity, don't even think about it," Bola teased, noticing the mischievous glint in her daughter's eyes. "Mama, I'm still growing. I need food for energy," Purity said, laughing as she scooped a large portion onto her plate. "Eh? Growing where?" Bola asked, shaking her head. "You eat so much, but it doesn't show on your body. Where does all the food go?" Purity laughed. "Mama, maybe it's helping my acting skills." Bola chuckled and watched her daughter eat. "Anyway, finish it all. But remember, we'll be leaving tomorrow. We can't leave your father alone in Abeokuta for too long." "Yes, Mama," Purity said, her mouth full. At the hospital, Ayo arrived and greeted the staff with his usual warmth. But before he could settle into his day, he was summoned by Dr. Tunde. "Ayo, I need to speak with you," Tunde said, his voice unusually serious. Ayo followed him into a quiet corner. "What's going on, Dr. Tunde?" "One of your patients died last night," Tunde said bluntly. Ayo froze, his eyes wide with shock. "What? How? Which patient?" Tunde crossed his arms and looked at Ayo. "The lady in room 205, cause of death, overdose injection." Ayo's heart raced. "Overdose? That's impossible. I didn't administer anything that could cause an overdose." "Well, the records show otherwise," Tunde said coldly. Ayo's mind spun. He knew he had never made such a mistake. "This can't be right. Dr. Tunde, what really happened?" Tunde shrugged. "I don't know, Ayo, but I'm willing to help you clear your name." Ayo narrowed his eyes. "Help me? What are you talking about?" Tunde stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Let's make this simple. I need a favor from you. If you do as I say, I'll make sure your name is cleared. But if you don't, I'll testify against you." "What?" Ayo's voice rose in disbelief. "You'll testify against me for something I didn't do?" Tunde smirked. "You were the doctor in charge, Ayo. That makes you responsible, and trust me, the evidence will be against you." Ayo's mouth hung open in shock. Suddenly, he understood what was happening. Dr. Tunde had set him up. He must have been the one to administer the overdose, and now he was using it to blackmail Ayo. "What do you want from me?" Ayo asked, his voice trembling with anger. Tunde's expression hardened. "The wristwatch, the one on Peter's wrist. Get it for me within 3 hours, or I'll make sure you go down for this." Ayo clenched his fists. "Dr. Tunde, this is wrong. You can't do this." "Oh, I can," Tunde said, his tone dripping with malice. "The choice is yours, Ayo. Do the smart thing, or face the consequences." With that, Tunde walked away, leaving Ayo standing there, stunned and helpless. Ayo managed to make his way back to his office. He closed the door, set his briefcase on the desk, and sank into his chair. Tears welled up in his eyes and spilled down his cheeks. "What am I going to do?" he whispered, burying his face in his hands. He thought about his mother's words. "Don't take what doesn't belong to you." But now he felt trapped. If he didn't give Tunda what he wanted, he could lose everything: his job, his reputation, his future. Ayo wiped his tears and took a deep breath. There has to be another way, he thought. But time was running out, and the pressure was unbearable. He thought of calling Zara but hesitated. He didn't want to worry her, especially when she was so far away. Instead, he decided to sit quietly and think, praying silently for guidance. As the minutes ticked by, Ayo's mind raced. He knew he couldn't let Tunde win, but he also couldn't risk losing his career. The situation felt impossible and he didn't know how to escape it. With a heavy heart, Ayo remained in his office, hoping for a solution to appear before time ran out.